Hello, today I'm going to be making salmon patties. Okay, I'm going to be quadrupling the recipe because I feel like if I'm going to drag all this stuff out and cook, I'm going to put some in the freezer so that it'll be a while before I have to cook this again. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy cooking it. But, going to need, if you were just going to do a small recipe, you would need 1 can, but I'm going to be using 4. Okay, and these are 14-ounce cans. This is the Kroger brand, which is perfectly fine. Going to need 1/2 cup, if you're doing the quadruple recipe, 1/2 cup of Hellmann's or Duke's mayonnaise. The mayonnaise cannot have sugar in it. It needs to be Hellmann's or Duke's. Or a generic mayonnaise that doesn't have sugar is fine too. Just as long as it's not Miracle Whip or anything crazy like that. If you're not going to be using the big recipe, you're going to do the small batch, you're going to have 3 tablespoons of the mayonnaise. Okay, and if you're doing the small recipe, it's 1/2 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of flour, and 1/4 cup of cornmeal, or a 1/2 cup of I'm going to try to get this up here where you can see it. Or 1/2 cup of White Lily's self-rising cornmeal mix, because it has the mixture of the flour and the cornmeal, so you can use it. Okay, so for the small recipe it would be 1/4 cup flour, 1/4 cup cornmeal, or 1/2 cup of the White Lily cornmeal mix. But I'm going to be doing the big recipe, so I'm going to need 2 cups of this. I'm just going to use this instead of flour and cornmeal separate. And there's going to be 1 egg if you're doing the small recipe. I'm doing the quadruple recipe, so I've got 4 eggs. Okay, so we'll review real quick. Okay, small recipe, 1 egg, but I'm doing the large one, so I need 4. 3 tablespoons of Duke's or Hellmann's for the small recipe. I'm doing the big recipe, so 1/2 cup. 1/4 cup flour, 1/4 cup cornmeal for the small recipe, or a 1/2 cup of White Lily cornmeal mix. But I'm doing the big recipe, so I'm doing 2 cups of the White Lily cornmeal mix. And 1 can of salmon for the small recipe. I'm going to use 4. So here we go. So you have your salmon, and it has bones in it. And everybody's like, oh, the bones, the bones. These bones are really, really, really soft. There's no need in removing those. You're just going to mash those up, okay? They're not going to hurt you. As a matter of fact, they add nutrition. So there's no need. You don't have to remove those unless you just want to. Okay, so I'm going to mash all this salmon up. And I'm going to mix all the ingredients together. And, of course, this is... Of course, you want to wash your hands first, and you really should remove your rings, but I forgot to. And so, I'm going to start with this here, and then I'm going to add the other ingredients. And to mix in, I'm just using this cast iron, I guess it's a boiling pot. And so it was just kind of something that I had that was big enough to hold all the ingredients, so that's what I'm going to use. And the skins and the bones and everything goes here. Like I said, you can remove bones if you want. There's no point in removing the skins. Matter of fact, if you do that, you're removing nutrition, because there's a lot of nutrition in the skins. And so now I'm going to add the cornmeal, and I'm going to mix this up really good with my hands. And by the time you get finished mixing this, and you can use gloves to do this, by the way, and it might be a little easier, but I'm going to go ahead and get the flour mixture, the cornmeal mixture and all that stirred in here as much as I can. And you just want to kind of evenly distribute it as much as you can before you start adding the wet ingredients. It just makes it easier to get it all mixed together. And whoo, it's a very strong smell in here. So we have that. Okay, we have the mayonnaise that has to go in, and I find that it's easier to mix the mayonnaise with the eggs. Okay, because I don't know, the mayonnaise by itself, trying to mix it, it's just kind of awkward. Let me get I need a, what do you call this? I can't remember what the word is for this. Somebody help me out. I'm getting old. But anyway, a scraper. I'm just going to call it a scraper. And so I'm going to mix the wet ingredients. Sorry you can't see that. Now, some people want to add onion to their salmon patties, but I don't, and here's why. Because I'm going to be making a tartar sauce that has onions, and so it's like, what's the point? So my tartar sauce isn't going to be the commercially prepared tartar sauce with sweet pickles in it, which, let's face it, that's not tartar sauce, okay? Tart, that means sour. It's in the title. It's supposed to have dill in it, not sweet pickles, but dill pickles. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and it's going to have dill pickles, onions, mayonnaise, and lemon juice. And that's going to be our tartar sauce. So what's the point in chopping up little tiny onions for this right here? So now I have my wet ingredients all mixed up. Okay. And there we go. Going to give that a good thorough stir, get that all mixed in. And then it'll be time to form the patties. Okay, so I have it all mixed up, and I'm going to use my half cup to measure. Okay, and this is going to be how I get the size for my salmon patties. Now, you might prefer more of a croquette. You might prefer to use a 1/4 cup measure instead of a half cup so that you can get some smaller patties. Okay, but I like them just a little bit bigger, so for me, I use the half cup, and so I'm just going to pat these out by hand. I'm going to cook some. I'm going to freeze the rest. Okay, and I'm going to make some homemade tartar sauce. Okay, here we have 2 cups of oil in the red copper skillet, and it's the large skillet. I'm not really sure exactly. It looks like maybe a 12-inch. And I'm going to drop in 2 tablespoons of real butter. That's real butter, not margarine. Margarine is blasphemy. Margarine is 1 molecule away from being plastic. It doesn't melt properly. And most of all, it doesn't taste good. So the butter is going to do 2 things. It's going to help with the flavor, and it's also going to help with the browning. Okay, I had this on high. I've gotten my oil here at a boiling point. I'm going to turn it down to medium high. And I'm going to let it get just a little hotter, so that it'll cook more evenly. And then I'm going to add my salmon patties one at a time. And I'm going to let a few seconds go in between, because you don't want to cool your oil off too quickly. So I'm going to let this one go for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to add another one. That was about 30 seconds maybe. And then another one. And then the last one. Okay, so I'm just going to let these go for a few minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to check them, okay? And I want them to get brown on one side before I flip them. Now, if you have a stove that doesn't have a ceramic top, it's just regular eyes, you might want to shift your pan around occasionally so that you'll have even cooking, okay? And it should be at a gentle boil, about like this. Like I said, I have it on medium-high. And now I'm going to check underneath. It's been just a few minutes. I don't know how long. But let's see what we have there. I think that's... I'm going to try to turn this one. Okay. Alright. There we go. Yeah, that's a good color. Okay. And then I'm going to going to wait a few seconds before turning the other two because this part is cold and I don't want to cool the oil down too quickly. Let me check this one. Yeah, that one looks like it's ready to turn. There's one of them that, okay, that one needs to be the last because I put that one in last, and so of course they're all cooking at slightly different rates. They're about 30 seconds apart as far as their cooking rate goes. Okay, so there we go. And there's no really hard and fast way to turn these. You just have to turn them the best way you know how. Some people take 2 spatulas and put one on top and one on the bottom and turn them that way. Just, you know, whatever blows your hair back. But I just kind of turn them against the side of the pan like that real quick. And so I'm going to let these go until they're brown on the other side. Okay, I got them brown on the other side, and I decided to turn them again and crisp them up just a little bit on the first side that I started them on. And so now it's time to talk about lemons. I typically buy 4 at least, okay? And I take 3 and I slice them up into quarters. And then the 4th one goes into the tartar sauce. And before you slice a lemon, I don't know if you know this or not, but you want to roll the lemon several times, okay, in order to release the juices inside the lemon, because you don't want to cut into a lemon that's hard as a rock. It's not going to juice very well. So of course you want to remove the sticker, and you want to run your lemons under some very hot water to kill any bacteria or anything that might be on the surface. And so you want that water, like I said, to be very, very hot. Under the sink is fine. You don't have to boil them or anything like that. And so now I'm just going to cut this lemon in half because this is going to go into the tartar sauce. So let's talk about tartar sauce. What goes in tartar sauce? I'll tell you what doesn't go in tartar sauce, and that's sweet pickles. If you want to start a fight with me, give me tartar sauce that has sweet pickles in it. That's the commercially prepared. That's the crap that they serve at the restaurants. That's the idiot, stupid stuff that they sell in the stores. You do not buy tartar sauce. Repeat after me. I will never buy tartar sauce again. I will make it myself. Let's say it again. I will never buy tartar sauce again. I will make it myself. Very good. So you're going to use a non-sugary mayonnaise. No sugar in the mayonnaise. No Miracle Whip, none of that junk. It's going to be Duke's, it's going to be Hellman's, or it's going to be a generic mayonnaise or something that has no sugar. Alright? No light mayonnaise. Who are we kidding here? We're making tartar sauce. Okay? This is salmon patties. They're fried. So don't try to be healthy. That's just ridiculous at this point. Go all in. If you're going to do this, go all in. Be all in with me. We're going to be using 2 cups. So get you a big jar, because it's going to be so delicious you won't believe how fast it gets eaten up. Then you're going to need a 10 ounce of dill relish, not sweet, dill. Or you can take some pickles, dill pickles of any kind, and cut them up, or put them in your food processor or whatever. I just buy the dill relish because it's faster. Okay? 10 ounces is fine. Alright? You're going to need an onion. And I take and I angle my knife like this, and I cut the center out of that hard piece at the bottom, because it just doesn't have a very pleasant flavor. Alright, and of course it's peeled and everything. And I'm going to dice it as fine as I can. And then you're going to need the juice from an entire lemon. Okay, so when you juice this lemon, you're going to want to hold a strainer, okay, over your mixing bowl, in order to keep the seeds out. So now I'm going to get cracking on making the tartar sauce. So there's my beautiful salmon patties, all laid out on paper towels. I did take a little bite out of one. They taste delicious. It's just the basic recipe. There's nothing really in them. Bell peppers, all that. That doesn't belong in a salmon patty. All you need is the flour, the cornmeal, the eggs, the mayonnaise, and the salmon. And you've got salmon patties. The rest is tartar sauce. And for our sides, I'm going to do a combination of green beans and potatoes.